Ah, there you go, friends. Doc South saying hey. And, well, it's no secret. I work in a supermarket. Yeah, just basically general jobs. I don't have any title or anything. I think my title might be Hey You. Might be. No, I work with a nice bunch of people, and it gets tense at times. Any store does, in a supermarket especially. You know, if all of a sudden there's a run on eggs and you're, you're maybe a little low in the back room. Well, you do some stepping and fetching. There's a lot of stepping and fetching, yes, in a supermarket, and it's you've got to do things right. And honestly, I find I like the work. For my age, I've been working in supermarkets now, I think something like 14, 15 years, something like that. And I got to say, I feel like I'm in pretty good shape. In fact, my doctor actually told me that I'm too thin. Yeah. He says, God, you used to have some fat on your bones. What? Meat on your bones, fat. You need some fat, And I'd say, well, yeah. And and he'd say, God, where do you work? I said, well, a supermarket. Oh, he says, that explains it. A lot of work, a lot of lugging, right? I said, yeah, lugging, walking. You never get a chance to sit down or nothing like that. I said, yeah, it's hard work. He said, well, that explains it. But he says, hey, now and then eat something you're in a food store, for crying out loud, grab something and eat it. Pay for it, but he says, God, he says, and I seem to remember he laid down the law. He wanted me 10 pounds heavier next time he saw me. And I'm going there in a day or two. I think I'm actually 10 pounds lighter than when I last saw him. I'm going to catch the devil. I think he's an old Army doctor. Cardiologist, yeah, but I think he was in the service. I get a feeling. I'll be doing push-ups. And, but he, it's that, oh my heavens, will you look? Oh, okay. No, I just saw the biggest bug crawling up the side of our house. I don't know if that's, you know what? Let's interrupt this program and go see if we can find out what the devil that thing is. Hold on a minute. Gosh. I don't know if I want to go near it. Hold on a minute. If I come back all full of welts, okay, just hold on. Just talk amongst yourselves. Nothing to write home about, just a big old bumblebee. And not going to hurt anything. He's just kind of walking around on the window there. I thought he was a spider. God, he's like that big. Jeez. Rip you a new one if he got a hold of you. Okay. Bumblebees usually leave you alone. Yeah. But yeah, what was I talking? Supermarkets. Yes. I don't know. Last night I was working, like I said, I think earlier, I was working the night shift, putting stuff on the shelf, and I'm thinking, why do I feel so kind of cool and nostalgic in here this evening? Yeah, well, this morning. It was early in the morning. And so that's when you do that kind of thing. And I said, oh my God. And then it hit me. I remember when I was a kid, in fact, it might have been one of my very first toys. I remember playing with this thing when I was like 3 years old, I think. Back in my parents' very first house, the very first house I remember being in, over in Mine Hill. It was a tin, it had tin sides. You could take the roof off it, and it had little aisles and checkout counters. It was a toy supermarket. It was. Oh, and it was so cool. You could put things on the shelves. Yeah, you could put things on the shelves. There was a meat department. It was all, sort of made of tin and plastic, mostly tin though. And I'll bet you nowadays, if you could find a complete one, it'd be worth some bucks. It really would. In fact, I'll have to look on, what is that, eBay? Is it? Yeah, and see if someone's got one for sale. They are, but it was fascinating. Little carts and stuff. No, it didn't have the people. You basically ran the store. You were the manager. You know, a 3-year-old manager, just kind of pushing the carts around and stuff. God, I remember. I think there was little cans of stuff you could put on the shelf. It was, I'm saying it was maybe like that big, but it was bigger than that. It actually probably was, I'd say about 1.5 feet by 2 foot. Yeah. I forget if I don't think it had a normal store name. In other words, it wasn't like it was a ShopRite or an Acme or a A&P, but it had something like said Super Food Mart, something like that on it. And if Mom were alive to tell you, she'd say I would play with that toy till eventually I could play no more. It was just so much fun for me. And now look, how many, 50 years later, wait a minute, Sheesh. More like 70 years later, well, look what I'm doing. I'm working in a doggone supermarket. I'll be done. Can you imagine how this stuff, you got to watch what you hand your kids. Although there's nothing wrong with working in a supermarket. It's actually a good thing. And I always try to go at it with a happy heart. And it's fun. Well, I'll be doggone. I'm going to have to see if I can find one of those, and one of those old supermarkets, and see what I can do. Maybe I can, if nothing else, maybe someone will give me permission to film it. Okay? Anyway, I'll see you later. I was just thinking, it'd be fun. Think back yourselves on something, an early toy that you had, and how did it affect you? Was there something that later in life you did because of that toy? Another thing that actually I remember my folks gave me was a record player. Yeah, I mentioned that earlier. I think I did a video not too long ago about that. But I'd play records all day long, talk to them, it was a crank-up record player. I'd bring it into the kitchen and, Mom, you got to listen to this song. And she'd say, yeah, that's nice. That's nice. And it was like that. I'll be doggone. Boy, you got to be careful. What you got to do is hand your kids some money. Or a bunch of stocks and bonds. No, hand them whatever you want, but just watch it. You wait and see. It's going to have an influence. It absolutely will. Maybe a doctor's kit. Come to think of it, I remember getting a doctor's kit. Oh my gosh, I did. I had one. Oh, this is getting scary. Anyway, I'll see you later, friends. Think yourself some of the early influences you had, and how did it affect you occupationally later in life when you had to quit playing and go to work? Or are you still playing? Huh? Yeah, maybe you are. Well, if you can turn work into play, good for you. See you later. Bye-bye.